Coming up on this episode of The Art of Snooker, we have an interview with Canadian snooker legend Cliff Thorburn. Anthony Hebblethwaite talks about the youth and the future of snooker in Canada. And Waterloo takes on Scarborough at the Ontario Snooker's Doubles Championship in Cambridge, Ontario. All that and more on The Art of Snooker.
Welcome to the Art of Snooker. I am your host, Erica White. Today we are at the Royal Canadian Legion Branch 272 here in Cambridge, Ontario, where the very first Ontario Snooker Doubles Championship is taking place. We've got teams from all across Ontario competing for the championship title, but that is not all. Throughout the next hour, you'll be seeing tips and tricks, as well as interviews and snooker maintenance care tips, so be sure to tune in for that.
So we are here with snooker world champion and snooker legend Cliff Thorburn. So Cliff, let's start off from the top. Let's talk about your accomplishments in this sport.
14-time Canadian champion, but who's counting? Former world professional snooker champion. I was the first so-called, overseas player to have won the championship. I was probably the original Russian hockey players, kind of a thing, and he's good, but he's not one of us. They didn't like a lot of people didn't actually like it too much. It's sort of like they got a little personal here and there, but I guess that happens in every sport. But first, a three-time winner of the Masters, which is a big tournament that's held at Wembley over in England. It's a very big sporting stadium and complex, and just a few other things, but I'm still playing and still do the odd senior thing. But I'm really into coaching now, and I think that a lot of people need some help along the way with whether it's coaching or just getting them to play. Period. And I think that Snooker Canada is trying really hard to get that going. I haven't done a lot of work with them, but they're on the right track, that's for sure.
So let's take a little trip down memory lane here. When did you start playing snooker and why?
I started playing, the first time I just played a couple of games, but I was caddying out in Victoria, and I did 2 rounds, and I lost my money to a fellow playing snooker, and I didn't play again until I was about 16, and it still took me 2 years to get that $10 back or $20 back, but I was always competitive. I played lacrosse, baseball, but the first time that I walked into a pool room, it was in Victoria, BC, and I went bowling with my father, and after about 5 minutes, I heard this noise, and it was the cracking of balls, I guess it turned out to be, and I was down a staircase, winding thing, went around, and I saw the table like this with the shade, and the frills hanging down, and the colored balls, and the beautiful cloth, and a fella hitting the black ball in the side pocket, and he made the black ball, and a big groan went up, and about 4 guys got up and threw money on the table. And I was like, I couldn't believe how beautiful it looked. It still looks that great to me every time I see it. It's a bit more lit up now, like for TV lights, etc. But I've just been following that ever since. I didn't realize there was a World Championship till I was about 18 or so, and the only yardstick I had to go by was one famous Canadian player, George Chenier, who's also in the Canadian Sports Hall of Fame for snooker. So he was my idol, and basically I got to Winnipeg one time, and he was in Toronto, and I went broke there, and I had to hop a freight train in the second engine, like it wasn't outside kind of a thing or in a boxcar, but the second engine, and finally got to see him play, and I heard all these stories about how invincible he was. Then the first shot he played, he missed it, and I went, yes, like this, because there's hope for me. Right. And a few people looked around like this kind of thing. But I was always hooked. I was, when I was first going to the pool room, on a bus and trying to cut the right-hand edge of telephone poles into barbershop windows and stuff as the bus is moving and angles, and I've just dreamt about it ever since. I've had a couple of dreams 2 weeks before I've made my 147, which was the first perfect game. I had a dream 2 weeks previous to that I'd do it in the World Championship, and I did it 2 weeks later. And I sort of, my whole life's been a dream. It wasn't that easy to start off with, but I just followed. I just wanted to play and watch and talk to good players, and there was no coaching schemes. I just fell into the love of my life before I met the love of my life, and I just followed it. I did for a little while think, how can you hate something so much and then love it even more. So
on that note there, what exactly about the sport do you love so much?
Well, I love I love the fact that you have to sort of stand back and have a strategy of what you're going to be doing, and then when you're walking into a shot, it's got to be the same all the time. I love the fact that the table's rectangular. I love the fact that I can have my own cue and have the best tip that's ever made on the best cue that's ever made, and on the best conditions there have ever been. And I know that if I'm on TV, that I'm making a lot of money. But I'm not. I know I'm not making a lot right now. But as you can see, it's a pleasure talking to you.
Of course.
Yeah.
So you said that you're coaching now. What's your biggest advice to people that are starting out?
Well, there's you've got to you have to get your cue through straight. A lot of people don't pay any attention to what's going on with the cue. They're really sort of goal orientated. They're shooting the cue ball, and they're anxious to see if the ball that they're shooting is going to go in before they even hit the cue ball. So they get a little bit anxious. So even with some people, I still say, well, if you get a bit anxious, just to look at the cue ball, providing that you're aimed correctly, it takes your mind off the doubtful things that might appear in your mind. But getting the cue through straight and keeping your head still, it takes a little while to get used to that. But I can help almost anybody.
Right. Well, so Snooker Canada, our goal here is to kind of elevate the sport in this country. Do you think that if this sport was on national television regularly, that people would tune in?
I think they would, yeah. I think, well, they've got to get, they have to let people know what the rules are. It sort of has to be a bit of a crash course. I mean, I played so much in the UK that I became the grandmother's favorite. Now, the grandmothers had their favorites. They knew the rules, and they, almost knew that if a person was playing the wrong shot. And that's the kind of situation that you have to get. It's almost like you have to put that, thing. Well, there's 18 holes in golf, and this is a sand trap. This is it. It's a very, it's a very demanding game. It's compared to pool, it's people almost hit a wall to a certain extent. But you just have to get the youngsters playing. We have to have pockets that are a little bit bigger to start off with. Like in golf, you don't want the beginners playing off the back tees on a golf course. You want them playing on a little pitch and putt course and have some fun to start them off. Like the first tee things that they have in golf down the States. You just start off at pretty basic stuff. Snooker is a very demanding game. But, maybe start off playing pool. But even the pool players say that this is the most demanding game in the world, and this is the one that gets the most TV coverage. The most countries play it, the most prize money, and the most television coverage. I mean, the World Championships, 17 days long, they get 145 hours of TV coverage. So looking at 8 hours a day, and it's fantastic.
So you had a pretty famous, hilarious interaction with Don Cherry when he asked you about the difference between pool and snooker. Can you describe that for me?
Well, it was a lot of fun. He sent a limo from my wife and my son and my mother-in-law at the time from Markham, took us out to Hamilton, where his place was, the Grapevine. And anyway, so he wants to get dressed up in my tuxedo, and so I got the shoes from David, suits from Lou Miles, and Yves Saint Laurent shirts. It's sort of like pretty basic, the black stuff. And then there's Don wasn't actually wearing the the drapes and all that stuff then. But he was dressed well, but he had when I was introduced, he said, okay, well, let's have it, right? He's not from Kingston, but it's Cliff Thorburn, good friend of mine, world champion snooker player. Well, come on in, Cliff, I got to go down. I sit down, and I got the tuxedo on, the patent leather shoes. He's got the very checkerboard sports jacket with the tie and everything, how Don is with the pin in his collar. And he says, right, Cliff, he says, well, let's get right into it. He says, well, first of all, he says, you smell really good, you know. And, so I'm sort of going, well, that's okay. Well, it's sort of nice, Don, but, I didn't need that one. He says, right, let's get right to it. He says, right, he says, what's the difference between pool and snooker, right? I said, well, Don, I said, that's pool. This is snooker. Like this, you see. And he said, well, who told you to say that? He said, right, as a matter of fact, we'll be right back, like this. He did, like he was stuck for words,
That's hilarious.
And he was great, though, but, we took it well, and we were friends after that, but, yeah. And he's done so much for sport in Canada, let alone hockey, So.
Right. Well, it was an absolute pleasure to talk with you. Thank you so much for chatting with us, and we hope
My
to see you back here soon.
Thank you very much. Me too. Thanks.
Coming up after the break, Anthony Hebblethwaite talks about bringing up youth in the game of snooker.
Anthony Hebblethwaite is from England, is here for 4 days. He came to find out where Canada was in the world of snooker and how youth is going to be encouraged and treated in the future. He brought his expertise for his working with youth, and he's going to talk a little bit about it, and we're going to show you a couple of things and discuss the future perhaps of Canada and how his contacts and his experience can help us. Now, my first question is,
Yep.
how do you teach kids who can't see over the table?
Simple. First thing, you'd imagine snooker, cue. No need. I use these routines, printed out routines, very simple, easy to follow. On each page, we have pictures of overhead shots of the table, very easy step-by-step to follow. I instruct the children, initially, no cue, 5 balls, very first lesson, 1 minute in. They're simply rolling the ball. I'm educating them in the fact that that is the top cushion, this is the balk line, this is the balk area, this is the bottom cushion. Return the red from the top cushion as close as you can to the bottom cushion, past the balk line. Rolling a red, learning 4 or 5 things. So they do that, repeated, 2 or 3 lessons on the trot, we move on to the next step. Each level has simple steps to keep it simple for the children. Very simple.
Well, all right, you're now, and I've watched you in action, you speak physically at their level.
Yes.
They seem to relate to you.
Yep.
So that this is a transferable skill to other people?
I believe so, yeah. It's, I don't know I'm doing it, but many people have commented. Making the child feel comfortable in such a big environment is key. In the snooker clubs I've grown up in, 14, 15, 16 snooker tables, 12-foot size, big adults, sometimes drinking beer, sometimes not. Can be intimidating. You get down, you make them feel comfortable, you let them know you're the coach there. If they refer to you initially, you then refer them to the table. They get comfortable with you before the table. They get comfortable with the balls by second fold, then the cue ball, then the ball to the balls, then the break building, then this is where the steps come in. All that's very complicated if we just string it out. Keep it simple, make them feel comfortable. Definitely transferable.
So what you're saying is that it's a build one step on the next step.
Yes.
Keeping it very simple so that it's in the language of the age relevant person that you're talking to. And I'll say person because they are.
Yes, in person.
But in talking with you, you mentioned the fact that there are special tables that help them learn the game before moving to a large table.
Yes. Well, when I first started with the idea of coaching, didn't really have a clue where to start. I didn't know of certification. I didn't know anything about where to go. So Googled it, went online, found the Paul Hunter Foundation. Mm-hmm. I found also, through the Paul Hunter Foundation, this scheme run by the WPBSA, Q Zone into schools. Now, this is key because in my club, in my home city of Wakefield in England, we had 1, 2 children in the club, schools, hundreds of kids. This is an Ofsted recognised programme. It's a pilot scheme being run in England, in the UK. So far, from my experience, successful. Mm-hmm. In my hometown, very successful. Up to 16 children in my class now from 1 or 2. So the idea is, initially, 6-foot tables, They have fold-away legs, space-saving, small, easy for the kids to use, but also similar angles, not too dissimilar pockets in reference to the ball size. So then when you upgrade as such to the big table, not much is lost, but by that point, the child already knows the game. And also, the school have now got a scheme that they can prove through Ofsted is helping not just participation in sport, education, all the benefits that we previously discussed with physics, angles, geometry, social awareness, all of that. Now, if it's Ofsted recognised, schools will have that scheme in their school, and it works, definitely works. Works for me.
Well, it seems certainly an alternative in Canada to winter sports where they don't want them outside. If the weather's not conducive, they have a learning tool right in the home.
I've not really thought about that.
Well, you don't have quite the winters we have. No. But it seems to me that snooker could come back the way it was 20 years ago.
I'd hope so.
And try to be a sport of king again.
Yeah, I'd hope so. I've seen lots of keen snooker people since I've been here.
Right.
Been to 4 or 5 clubs. Mainly pool, a lot of pool cue actions with the snooker.
Right.
But whether they've got a pool cue action, whether they play pool or not, they're aware of snooker, they like the history of it, they're very aware that the UK play it, they know of the tour, they're interested. Lots of people I've talked to are interested in this. Not just this, the junior development, but competitions and exposure. It's publicity. It's got to get out. Snooker's got to get back. To see Canada in person and to see snooker tables actually in the clubs, after hearing that there's not many people playing, there's tables now, there's competitions, there's a chance for people to play. Just get out and play.
Hopefully you've
not
seen
just the
that
youth,
Snooker Canada may be the venue to the country.
I'd hope so.
And the future is in the hands of the youth,
Yeah.
because not like you, few of us are getting to the point where we're not going to be playing it for a long time. And there has to be something coming along to provide the game of snooker some history and depth.
I agree.
And I thank you for coming from England. I thank you for spending time with us and for your travels around. And we look forward to continuing the conversation, to finding out more about these programs.
Yes.
And at how we can bring it to Canada, because you're in the forefront. You've sort of broken down the barriers and found out what's relevant and what is good, and we don't have to reinvent wheels, and we hope a partnership can develop, and we can bring it to the families of Canada.
Yep, certainly.
Anthony, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Coming up after the break, it's Team Waterloo versus Team Scarborough in the Ontario Snooker Doubles Championship. Welcome back to the Art of Snooker. We're heading over to the main table at the Royal Canadian Legion Branch 272, where Waterloo and Scarborough are set to square off. With the call, here's David Burney.
Nice cue action. You just didn't get in it too much, just on the wrong side of the blue to come up for those reds. So he's going to have to, I think, go around the table if he's electing for the blue. Oh, but that's okay. But he's left himself a long pot. Well done. See, he's got the long pots in his arsenal. Just surprised in that last frame that he didn't make it. Maybe just first frame jitters. You know, this is a big stage with all the TV cameras and a wonderful table. So now they're just getting the feel of the table. Nicely done. Hopefully it held up just a bit. I think it ran on just a bit too far to be on this red to go into the corner. Tried the cut. Ooh. Great concentration by Gus. Well done. I think he just hit that real nice, just enough power just to be up on the black. Definitely good concentration. Keeps his head down quite well for a long time. Another great shot. Oh, I think that's a lovely kiss that he had there on the red. I think that's going to help him tremendously just to get onto this red into the side pocket. He potted it, but this game is also potting and where you are after the shot. Although the blue is on, but if it was a bit harder, he could have pushed that green and maybe been in a different ball color. Oh, very lovely. That's a nice shot there. Did have a great opportunity there to get behind the green to really give some trouble for the team from Waterloo. Maybe just push through it just a bit too much. That black ball still being a pain over there on that corner pocket. Oh, nice shot there by Gus. I don't know much about Farid. Maybe he's a pool player as well, as that is a bit of a more quicker game. And he does take a few more banks than I see regular snooker players take. Now Lucas has got to be a little careful here about the in-off. You can see the green, but that left corner pocket is looking tough. Oh my goodness, fantastic. Great shot there. Wow. Definitely took that corner pocket out of it and just slid out there, and tough brown, but still making that green was quite excellent. Could have done without that kiss into the pink. Well, the Waterloo team is up by 7, but there's still 22 points on the table. Question is, will Scarborough tie it up, or will Waterloo take a 2-frame advantage? That's well, we went for it, and hopefully he's not going to pay the penalty. It's not looking too bad, because going for the side right now for Hussein, there's a risk of the in-off, obviously up into the green pocket. And why I call it the green pocket, obviously when the colors are spotted, the green goes to the right side in the D, the bulk area. That's why we call it the green pocket. And likewise, the opposite pocket would be the yellow, because the yellow goes on the other D spots on the bulk line. Oh, nice pot there on the brown. Oh my. And ooh. And he's snookered behind the pink there. Was that blue will hit the top cushion and then rebound into the cue ball and shoot the cue ball down to the bulk end. No, electing play off the top cushion and kicking the blue out. Trying to get it back down into bulk. Nice shot there by Gus. Just gotta hold up. Oh my. That is just really ugly down there. Looks like he might just run up into it. He did. He got out of it. Please, can you believe it? A 6 by 12 foot table. And we are just cornered into about a 3-inch by 3-inch area where they're playing, where all these balls are. Sane got out of it. Ooh, and there it goes. Finally. And that could be a free ball for the opposing team, but that black has finally gone down. It's just a matter of time. Fortunately for the Waterloo team, it was a penalty, 7 points. I looked at that pink ball for the free ball. And now it should just be an order of routine with the pink and the black on their spots. This is frame ball here for Team Scarborough. My apologies, that pink blue was. As Waterloo needs one hook. 13 points on the table and a difference of 15. It's always tricky to lay a hook, my apologies. Lay a snooker with 2 balls on the table. And Hussein drains that pink, and that will be the frame. So Scarborough draws even, 1-1. A lengthy frame. We'll see how this plays out in the match. Will this be good confidence for Hussein's team from Scarborough with Farid? Or will the team from Waterloo, Lucas and Gus, regroup themselves, bear down, and try and get back another 1 frame advantage? So frame 3 will be coming up, and stay tuned. Alright, we're back here with frame 3 just about to get underway. Knotted at 1. Gus breaks it off and let the games begin. So I'm not sure how long that last frame was, but it did feel like an eternity that we were on those last 3 colored balls for sure. So hopefully that win in the last frame can propel these guys from Scarborough to take the next frame. It's got to do wonders for their confidence. be okay with that. Definitely, these tables are a little quicker than the other tables in the club, I've said. Great work by John at Custom Billiards, putting this table together. You can find him out at custombilliards.com for all your table needs. Stand-up chap, I must admit. Had a good time chatting with him yesterday, and he's done a wonderful job putting this table together. I think the players really enjoy it. And this is where these games can get exciting. Lucas is in the balls and hopefully wanting to put up a good score. I'm just going to maybe run through a little bit to be on the black after this red. Well done, and avoids the cushion so you can get more cue action. Ooh. That's a shot Lucas should have made, and he's left a red onto the left corner pocket. Yep, Farid wasting no time. Gets down on it, and already it's a bit quicker than the last frame. It's a nice shot. Well played to have this red into the side pocket. Good cue action. One red by the cue ball right now might be a problem, but got that blue nicely and onto a beautiful red. I think you must want to come into this blue and get a little top on run through to get that red off. Oh no, played to be behind it. He's got a choice of pockets now. Soft and delicate shot into the side or a longer pot into the corner. Struck beautifully, very nice. Great weight there, and it just rolled in nicely on this beautiful table. To definitely get into the cue ball there to give him a chance onto the yellow. Because there is 27 on the table. It's still anybody's game. Looking to play safe. Watch out for that corner pocket. Oh. After a lovely break there, that's not how you want it to end. Now with the difference of 17, 27 on the table, Gus definitely has a chance. All the balls except the yellow on the spot, so if you can get this yellow in, it's just a matter of that old practice routine of running the colors. Nice shot. He's got a lot of experience under his belt, Gus. Ooh. I think he would make that one. The jaws just weren't kind to him on that one. as the black ball helped him out a little bit there. I think Lucas maybe could have run by this black and put the green in the corner pocket. He's going to have to give it some pace, that's for sure, to get back up onto the brown. Right. Just run a bit too far for him. The chance of the double, the bank shot. Looking for a thin cut, but playing it nice and safe. Is it okay though? I don't think the black has helped him out. One fortunate thing is that brown might be glued to the bulk cushion. Yes. Great shot there by Farid. So it's a bit more power to be on the better side of the blue, but being up by 8 points, now they're up by 12, with 18 on the table. They're just needing this blue. Now the guys from Waterloo do need snookers to win this frame. Shanley rolls it in, and that's the frame there.
Fresh off his victory at the Ontario Snooker's Doubles Championship, we talked to Farid Afandi, coming up after the break.
I have with me today a young man who I had not the opportunity to meet or speak to before today. He was brought to us and introduced to Snooker Canada and is competing today for another young man who I won't mention his name. I'll get even with him later. But how did you get involved in the sport?
Well, sir, I've been playing snooker since I would say 2008, and before that I was interested in soccer, and then back home there was a place where I used to soccer, but I couldn't get the opportunity to keep playing soccer, so a friend took me to a place. There's sticks, cues, balls, you hit it and you part it, and I was like, wow, let's try it. And then I've been there with him. I practiced, for 10, 15, 20, and then a month. And, the more I was practicing, the more, I found myself better in this field. And then I keep continuing, and I found myself more interested in this game.
It's certainly different than soccer.
Of course, it is.
It involves a ball and a net, but the net's down here. Anyway, that's quite a different sport. It's not physically as active.
Right.
Do you find that that you miss the physical activity of a sport?
Well, not really, but since it's like kind of mind game, so I love this game, and I always watch the professionals. I follow what they does, and what I intend is to get in a point where I can play the best.
Well, we asked the young man whether or not he would be looking for a coach. Have you had any coaching in your...
Well, to be honest, I never had a coach. Like I said, I've been watching the professionals even though now. And, so far I like copied, everything without any coach. And I would say, I play really good without a coach. But, if I get a coach, obviously, my mistakes will be, I mean, I wouldn't have any mistakes anymore. I would improve more and more. So, I mean, if I have a coach, I mean, that would be more great for me.
How many coaches are there in your country? Are there a lot, or are there very few?
Well, this game is like improving everywhere, but in my country, actually, I grew up in Pakistan. I was 5 when I moved to Pakistan. So if I compare Pakistan to Afghanistan, there are more coaches in Pakistan compared to Afghanistan. So, yeah.
And now you're here.
And now I'm here, and I'm really happy that I'm here. Canada is a great country. I'm trying, to concentrate more and more in snooker. However, I'm working, but I still, figure out time for snooker to play.
If you love something, you find the time for it.
That's right.
How do you find the Canadian players? Are we, and I don't mean to make us sound bad, but we're not quite at where the rest of the world is.
Right.
It seems to be a more accepted and participated in sport elsewhere in the world. And it's normal to start very young.
Well, I heard about a player, Cliff, where he been played in professional levels, even though I heard there is not, players in Canada where they can perform by international levels. But, there are talents everywhere.
That there are. I find there are people who go in the Olympics and train for years. Yet there are other people who are not interested, but they actually are better than they are. So there are lots of snooker players who decide not necessarily to go into competition. The Cliff Thorburn you're referring to is a Canadian. Obviously made the first perfect game in world international play. No Canadian had never done this before, the 147. Yes, and he made a career out of it, but it's hard to do in Canada because we don't have the numbers.
Right.
We put a television snooker tournament on in Pakistan, and we get probably 1.5 million people watching it.
That's right.
You put it on here in Canada, and you better take some zeros out of that number because there won't be that many watching.
Yeah, I mean, most people don't pay attention. I would say maybe here in Canada, but like you said, out of Canada, there are lots of people who are interested. But I hope that this field, this snooker game, have more name in Canada eventually.
Well, the name Snooker Canada, I don't think it's recognized quite worldwide yet, but it's becoming, I think anyway, more and more people talk about it.
Right.
And realize there is an organized effort to bring the game up another notch. Any suggestions for?
Well, thank you very much for your time. I'm trying my best to reach in a level where I can perform well, and where I can go to the UK. It's all about your interests and how hard you work.
Everything in life is dependent upon that.
Good luck for me.
I thank you for taking the time. I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much, sir.
And we'll talk again soon, and we'll now see you around more often.
Coming up next, we're running the colors on the Art of Snooker.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the Art of Snooker. I am your host, Erica White. If you have any questions or comments about today's show, be sure to drop us a line and tune in to our next episode airing next week.
Coming up on the next episode of The Art of Snooker, a look at the Richler Cup and more doubles championship action with Hamilton at St. Thomas.